Hey guys, I had the privilege of interviewing the greatest kicker in Bengals history. Right now, it's still Jim Breech. He's known as Money. Never knew that, did you? Now, this is going to be a little excerpt of the interview that I will be uh, showing live, the full length version of it, live today at 5:30 on the YouTube channel Sports with Strawberries. But I want to give you guys a little bit of a background for people who don't remember Jim Breech of how good he was. Now, he is the all-time Bengals points leader. He had 1,246. Now, his field goals, he kicked out of 71%. He was 243 for 340 extra points, 95.9%, 517 for 539. He has a 186 consecutive scoring streak in 186 consecutive games of scoring. We'll get some more stuff here. Okay, he was perfect in every overtime game he ever was in. He was 9 for 9. He played in 9 postseason games. He only missed 2 field goals in those 9 postseason games. Was at a great shot of being the Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 23. If we would have won it against the Sucky Niners. He was inducted into the University of California, Berkeley Athletic Hall of Fame in 1999. He's also the head of the NFL Alumni Association. He's a great all-around dude. And it's just actually, he played in the Freezer Bowl. And I know it's a legendary game. Here's a little bit of story of how him and Jack Thompson actually got to the Freezer Bowl. It's kind of interesting. Now, the full interview I'll be playing today live at 5:30. I hope you enjoy this little excerpt right now. Let's just get to the Freezer Bowl because I'm sure you probably told the same stories a million times. I think I've heard you say it was like kicking a brick.
It was. Yeah, the whole surrounding that, like my dad had come out from California for the games, and the Buffalo game, it was 55 the week before, and somewhere around Friday the temperature, they were projecting it to start to turn, and so we're running around town trying to find him some warm weather gear, never thinking that it was going to be as cold as it was.
Right.
So we got him some gear to wear, and we get up Sunday morning, and the guys that drove there, many of their cars wouldn't start. So we're struggling to find a way to get to the stadium, and with Forrest Gregg, if we're late to the stadium, it's the AFC Championship game, can't be late.
Right.
If we're late, we're going to get fined $50, which we weren't making a whole lot, so $50 was a big deal.
Right.
So I was going to ride down with Jack Thompson. We were rooming together. So we started hustling around trying to find somebody who had driven in that morning. We found a server, and it's like, "Did you drive here today?" She says, "Well, yeah, I did. Would you give us a ride to the stadium?" She's like, "Yeah, let me just check." And so, yeah, okay. So we jumped in her. I think she had a Camaro.
Oh, nice.
And I think there was one other guy with us. So we're in this Camaro, and she's driving, and Jack says, Can you go a little faster? At this rate, we're going to be late, and we're going to get in big trouble. He says, "Well, I don't want to break the speed limit and get you guys pull over." So we pull over on the freeway. They jump out and change places. Jack gets us downtown, gets us in. So we're in great shape there. Interesting side note to that.
Okay.
Probably 10 years ago, Jack was in town, and we got together for lunch. And we go into this restaurant, and the lady seating us, she says to Jack, "Are you Jack Thompson?" And he says, "Well, yeah." She says, "My daughter was the one that drove you guys down to the stadium."
Oh, no way. Get out of here.
Yeah. Great
That's
story.
awesome.
Yeah, it was good. So we get in the locker room, and, it's freezing. I mean, all people could talk about is what are we going to wear?
Right.
Because they didn't have all the stuff they have now.
Right.
All they had were long johns.
Mm-hmm.
And long johns were fine for practice, but in the game, you really couldn't move well. So you didn't want to wear them for a game.
Right.
So next thing you know, there's some big boxes end up in the middle of the floor. Tom Gray opens those up, and it's pantyhose. Pantyhose were like wearing the stuff that they wear today, right? Compression shorts. But the only thing you could think of to keep, I put 2 pair of pantyhose on. But the best part was watching the defensive linemen trying to get into their pantyhose. That was pretty funny. It was
Oh
pretty
my god! Just think if you had Twitter and stuff now, how many pictures would
It
have
would
went
have been,
viral?
yeah. It would have been pretty amazing. It would have been hilarious. So then, we offensive linemen obviously didn't wear sleeves that day.
Right.
They tried to cake it up with a bunch of Vaseline for some insulation. But the way the jerseys were, they didn't want guys to be able to grab. And if they had a bunch of stuff on, they probably gonna have something to grab. So they went out warm-ups, got through warm-ups, said, we're going to do it. So and I don't think Reggie Williams either. He didn't wear sleeves either.
I remember I know you've heard a million people say they've been at this game, but my uncle legitly was at this game. He was a season ticket holder. He went up to Super Bowl 16 up in Detroit, and he will tell me to this day that is the coldest he has ever been. I have no idea how these guys played football in this, because I remember seeing you guys. You taped up the ear holes, so
everything, anything that had air blowing through it or was exposed, we tried to cover up as much as we could. And the only person that came out of it with any issues, it seemed, was Eddie Edwards.
Oh yeah,
he had put those hand warmers, the ones that heat up.
Right.
He put them inside his helmet up against his ears, and they burned his ears. So he ended up with some frostbite type effect from that.
Oh my goodness.
It was great, but I think that's all that came out of that game, even though it was unbelievably cold.
Unbelievably cold. I mean, like I said, I was a little younger then, but I do remember it. I mean, I remember, and I was just like, it is so freaking cold. And I didn't. I mean, we just sat there. We had a fire. We sat by the house or sat in front of the TV and watched the game. And I just remember steam coming off your guys' head, and just if you're just talking, a little bit of smoke, but it was like billowing out of your guys' mouth just from talking.
Anybody had a beard or a mustache, they were white. Well, mine's white now, but
well, it was white.
My mustache was white because of the cold.
Right, exactly. So just I know you wore 2 different size shoes there. You did that for kicking. Now, how was it? I know you said this before. It's like kicking a brick. Like, did you feel like you broke your foot every time you kicked it, or how did you get through that?